Now, you're either an MMA sweat looking, if I have the picture, agree with, or you're genuinely new to the sport and interested in a tier list. Either way, you don't want to miss out on today's controversial 7 levels of MMA fighters. By the end of the video, you might have a couple of new fighters to watch, or at least be entertained for a while. Let's start with the fighters on level 1, and contrary to other lists, you will actually know these people and you will fucking hate them. Now, I really like Joe Rogan's approach to never talk shit about fighters. Like, after all, they're getting into the UFC. That's mad impressive, and they put on way more on the line than, you know, a regular basket or NFL player. But with that said, and that in mind, level 1, we have the fucking exception to this rule. We have the scum, the bottom of the barrel bums. This tier is for cheaters in the most egregious forms, like holding on to submission or taking steroids. This includes people like Rosemar Palhares, absolute disgusting, holding on to nasty submissions that significantly held up Mike Pierce's career. So a fighter would tap, fair enough, GG's, and he would just hold on to that, like straight up snap somebody's leg in half. Also, Josh Koscheck, extensive eye pokes and weird behavior towards CSP and stuff like that. We also have the likes of Vitor Belfort. If you don't know this guy, he was TRT Belfort. Now, this is fuckery of the highest profile. During, you know, the UFC on Fox in 2013, Bisping, Michael Bisping, yeah, the fucking hilarious guy, got caught by a head kick by this fucking bull, and he notoriously lost sight after that, which affected his career for a long time. Bisping had to cheat the athletic commission to even let him fight after that. Now, a little segue here. Now, extensive eye pokes, steroids, fuckery like this. Boys, I gotta tell you, I was real close to just put John Jones in here. But something, you know, it's a question of 2 + 2 = 5 in this scenario. Like, it makes sense to put him here, but you just can't do it. I like John Jones, but I thought about it. Like, you have cheating, you have everything on here. Like, why wouldn't he be on here? But he comes in later, don't worry about it. Now, with the UFC's only bums out the way, we move to the fighters worthy of your respect. I would like to call these the comparatively unimpressive fighters. Whoa there, big fella. That's a big word, but let's break them down real quick. Getting into the UFC is fucking impressive. It's just, compared to others, they're bit not impressive. You get what I'm saying? So if you have genuinely been in the UFC for some reason watching this video, you know, comparison is the thief of joy, my boy. Good job. In this tier, they're primarily unknown fighters. If you actually know them, please touch some grass now. Jason Reinhardt fought across 3 different weight classes but couldn't find success. There's also Paddy Holohan, known for being Connor's teammate, so you might actually know this guy if you're a 2010s lover like me. Had one fight in 2015 and then lost and didn't fight again. So if you've been watching the UFC for some time, you might start to recognize these fighters. And if you're new to the sport, these people could be someone you actually might enjoy watching. So these fighters have actually been in the UFC for quite a longer amount of time, had some good fights and some less fortunate fights. They didn't always win, but they're always quite entertaining, so Dana would keep them, you know. But mostly this was for Dana to keep them as stepping stones and cannon fodder once in a while. So this tier is journeyman, stepping stones, and some fan favorites for the memes. So a great example of a journeyman and cannon fodder was Cowboy Cerrone. Now please calm the fuck down. I enjoy Cowboy as well. He's a fucking stud. But you know, he did have a lot of fights, never really touched gold. The incident here with Conor McGregor where he just got shoulder striked pretty early and just getting the fuck out of there. So like Chris Lieben would also fall into this tier. A treat for the older viewers here. Had wars, good fights, but also had losses to like Silva and Bisping and people like that, you know. So he was technically like a little bit of a stepping stone. Now we get into the more household names of the UFC. So even the new watchers might know some. I'll try to name some from the 2010s and perhaps older than that as well. But Dana actually once said that he doesn't really care if you get booed or you get cheered for. He loves it either way. But if they don't give a fuck about you, then you're in real trouble in the organization. So for the next tier, we're gonna have exactly that. Entertainers. So entertainers typically have some skill, lots of aura, but lack the stone cold skill. Like McGregor was a loudmouth, sure, but he also had some of the most dominant championship fights against the likes of Eddie Alvarez. So here we get to see the like Paddy Pimblets, Bo Nickel, Kevin Holland, Shavkat, Rakhmonov. But you know, they all are really entertaining. They have lots of aura. They have lots of talking skill, but they are not at that level of champion yet though. I just realized Kobe Covington is a perfect example of this tier. He was on the brink of getting cut by the UFC. All of a sudden, he starts talking shit, right? And he just becomes a massive star, gets numerous title shots. So, and I also very fucking enjoy Kobe. So go watch some of Kobe's stuff as well. So entertainers mostly are relevant with the times. Like they entertain, get a lot of views, get a lot of clicks, or even get a lot of TV time in the old days. But when they never have touched gold, there's some legacy part missing to it. They kind of fade into history. So in UFC Fight Pass, if you have it, there's access to all UFC fights in history of the company. And in there, they have a playlist with the linear history of champions in that division. And that's what these next fighters have above the previous tier. They have history. Like a smaller legacy. They are on that playlist. They have been champion. They are written in the history books more so than great entertainers. So like here literally every champion, interim champion falls in my book. So just to list up some that I like, they're not ranked in ranked order, but I like Bisping, hella entertaining, good fights back in the day. RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, Eddie Alvarez even, Anthony Pettis, fucking dog. Jack Madalena, DDP, all these guys. They have something that mere entertainers don't at the moment. Now, to be fair, sometimes I like entertainers more. Don't get that mixed up. Some of these champions like Belal Muhammad have absolutely no aura. They're fucking boring. So, you know, we could honestly say like all champions except for Belal. I'm good with that, but this is my rough, you know, tier list. Now we're getting into the 1% of the 1%, but for sure by now I'm starting to offend a little bit. We might start to disagree on some stuff. So strap up. This might get juicy in the comments, but these fighters have very impressive resumes, but yet there's a hole somewhere in their careers that are too big to call them a great or a GOAT. So this could be too few title fights, steroid issues, or other controversy. These are the greatness edgers. So John Jones, insane record, did unspeakable acts to the light heavyweight division for years. However, he was busted more than once for steroids. Insane amount of eye pokes in their fights with like DC and stuff like that. Not to mention ducking a little bit now, even though he's the same age as DC back in the day. Now, this one really might get me banned in Russia, but Khabib is on tier 6 for me as well. He did have loads of aura. Kind of entertaining because I do enjoy wrestling, but he did have insanely low competition in his early career. Like most people think that he's like 30-0, really crazy, but for the most part of his early career, he didn't really have any competition. There's been plenty of Instagram posts and videos about this already, but so I'm sure you have seen it, but if you haven't, now you know. Now, to be fair, later he did smoke the top echelon of the sport, so he's not entirely padded. He really did smoke the best in the game, but he quit too early in my opinion. Like someone like Alex Pereira has more title fights within a couple of years than Khabib had. How can you then call him a GOAT if he really didn't fight for that long compared, you know? So more title fights for him to be a GOAT. Also perhaps branch out. His striking was really not as good as Islam Makhachev's, for example. So in my opinion, Islam is on the track to become more of a GOAT because his striking is also insane. Like he's more well-rounded. So these also entail champions who were very dominant and had dominant runs, but didn't break the insane records of the highest echelon. So these could be like the Kamaru Usman run, the Israel Adesanya run, Stipe, BJ Penn, Charles Oliveira, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You know. Out of all these fucking fighters, let's talk about, you know, diversity and stuff like that. Joanna is kind of the biggest beast on this tier for me. I fucking loved her, you know, aura and stuff like that. She was fucking insane. The 2010s era are by far the best. Like we had back in the day, we had Conor, Khabib, and Joanna, and people like that. So sidetrack. Alright. Now we have now for the fighters at the top of the very game. You know, these fighters are undisputable GOATs, but not all of them have unanimous fan support. So this might even, you know, stir the pot a little bit. But these boys have it all. They have skill combined with crazy aura, impact on the fans, money. They have everything, fame, whatever. So the obvious picks are GSP, big for his time. Mighty Mouse didn't earn as much money, but he was just too fucking dominant to let out of this tier. Anderson Silva, aura, money, everything. DC, Jose Aldo. Many people disregard Jose Aldo because he got knocked out so fast by Conor. But go ahead and look on UFC Fight Pass or his record. He was so fucking dominant for many, many years. Above 10 years, I believe. Also, Chuck Liddell. He did have some bad fights at the end of his career, but he was a fucking beast in the early days. He's also a fucking GOAT. Now, for some more controversial takes, Alex Pereira, 100%. I'd fight anybody saying Alex Pereira isn't a GOAT already. Some people say Khabib is the GOAT, but here's the thing. He's champ across 2 weight classes and have been champ, considering going into heavyweight as we speak. Khabib was a weight bully in the same division for all his career. That's point number 1. Of course, the aura. Alex has more. Alex would have made more money if Khabib didn't have the McGregor fight. Like, Khabib is not as entertaining as Pereira, so if he didn't have the Conor fight, he wouldn't have made as much money. I'd fucking bet the house on that. And of course, insane skill for Alex Pereira. Like, he is very skilled. He's fucking dangerous, you know? Also in this tier, for me, that is a little bit more controversial. Conor McGregor, for sure. Obviously in his prime. Come on now. You know, fights against Eddie Alvarez. Joe Rogan literally said at that fight, this is the most dominant championship fight he's ever seen, or like in UFC history. So people do disregard his actual skill in his prime for all the other bullshit that has went on through the years. Also, the fights against Aldo and so forth, huge impact on the sport. He was actually the reason I started, just because MMA had become so fucking huge because of him. So he impacted the sport, made the most amount of money anybody has made. Like, I feel like Ian Gary and Paddy Pimblett, they always have to be in the shadow of McGregor. Like, anytime somebody is entertaining, they look for the same skill as McGregor. And that huge shadow is still there, 100%. You know, now he's a little bit more unhinged, but look at the fucking motivational videos back in the day. Like, he was fucking locked in beyond everybody. And those motivational speeches are still there. Okay, now you know the 7 levels of MMA fighters, but there are as entertaining personalities that just never got into fighting. So actually in this video, I explore how Sneeko would do against 4 of his biggest haters or ops online. So go check that out next. Anyways, thank you guys for watching all the way to the end. Fucking love you guys. Sub up, fellas. See you next time.